and welcome to Take on Tech, your #1 tech show, keeping you updated on all you need to know on matters technology. My name is Ayieta, so invite your people, let them know that we have begun. The hashtag to use is Take on Tech at KBC Channel 1. In our question of the day, we want to know, when selecting the personal browser that you use, what exactly do you take into consideration? Talk to us at KBC Channel 1 using the hashtag TakeOnTech. In tech news, we attended an event that gave a report on the disinformation ecosystem in the continent Africa and what exactly is being done to tackle this. And internationally, we tell you what data breach victims should do, especially now with rising cases of mass hacks. This and much more in our tech news roundup.
For many users of digital technologies in Africa, social media platforms are primary gateway to the internet. Increasingly, social media is being used by individuals, governments, political parties, civil society, and human rights defenders to engage, organize, mobilize for a range of contemporary issues. These platforms have created a space for the public to influence, organize, and participate in online discourse, including in authoritarian countries where the scope of offline political engagement remains limited. African governments and political leaders have increasingly seen social media as a threat that provides the public with greater access to information, enables mobilization to challenge the status quo, and to expand political participation. Consequently, those governments are taking greater control and influence of the online space and platforms to assert their agenda and stifle dissenting voices. Autocratic regimes have already deployed information control strategies, including repressive legislation and internet disruptions. If disinformation is not effectively combated through a coordinated multi-actor and multidimensional fashion, it will undermine social cohesion, undermine freedom of expression and the right to information, and deepen democracy deficits in Africa. At an event held by Sycheva on promoting effective and inclusive ICT policy in Africa, they discussed this and came up with the proposed intervention to disinformation. The BBC, British Airways, and Boots are among companies whose staff have been affected by the MOVEit data breach, and more organizations are expected to issue staff warnings as the extent of the breach is discovered. Here are a few actions that those caught up in mass hacks can take according to the BBC. Don't panic. In the early stages of an attack such as this, the most pressing advice is aimed at the organizations. Hackers are not interested in going after individuals. It's too time-consuming and they care about only one thing: getting paid, and they will probably send ransom demands to the organizations breached, asking for cryptocurrency Bitcoin. Don't pay. The group, thought to be based in Russia, will then contact a company email address demanding payment not to publish the stolen data online, Mandate research suggests. Law enforcement agencies around the world advise organizations not to pay as it fuels the growth of these criminal gangs. Be suspicious. Experts say the risk is from secondary attacks, where hackers use the details they have to trick victims into revealing more details. The advice, therefore, is to look out for suspicious emails and phone calls, particularly ones about the hack. Don't log in. In a typical scam, individual victims might receive a message claiming to be from the organization, asking them to log in and verify the account because fraudulent activity has taken place. The MOVEit breach is likely to become more serious as other companies discover they have been hacked. But experts say data stolen in previous hacks has been published in an obscure corner of the dark web with little consequences to individuals.
In our Tech of the Week segment, we let you know why millions of hard drives are being destroyed in the UK, yet they can still be reused. One expert says that this is a security matter, and when you dig deeper into it, it's actually on matters risk management. To what exactly? We have more insights into this in our feature. Let's listen in.
Millions of storage devices are being shredded each year, even though they could be reused. Storage devices are typically sold with a 5-year warranty, and large data centers retire them when the warranty expires. Drives that store less sensitive data are spared, but the CDI Circular Drive Initiative, a partnership of technology companies promoting the secure reuse of storage hardware, estimates that 90% of hard drives are destroyed when the data is removed. IT asset disposition firms who dispose of old technology for businesses that no longer need it say they shred all devices because their customers don't allow them to resell once the data has been erased. Mr. Hans of CDI probed further, and the cloud service providers of the firm said security is the main reason. But according to Mr. Hans, what they actually meant was risk management. They have a zero-risk policy. It can't be 1 in a billion drives, 1 in 10 million drives, 1 in 100 million drives that leaks. It has to be zero. The irony is that shredding devices is relatively risky today. The latest drives have 500,000 tracks of data per square inch. A sophisticated data recovery person could take a piece as small as 3 mm and read the data off it. Mr. Hans, the secretary of a CDI, says the IEEE Standards Association describes 3 methods for removing data from devices, a process known as sanitization. The least secure method is clear. All the data is deleted, but it could be recovered using specialist tools. It's good enough if you want to reuse the drive within your company. The most extreme method is to destroy the drives through melting or incineration. Data can never be recovered, nor can the drives or its materials. Between the two sits a secure option of reuse. When the drive is purged, data recovery is unfeasible using state-of-the-art tools and techniques. There are several ways the drives can be purged. Hard drives can be overwritten with new patterns of data, for example, which can be checked to make sure the original data has gone. With today's storage capacities, it can take a day or two. By comparison, a cryptographic erase takes just a couple of seconds. Many modern drives have built-in encryption so that the data on them can only be read if you have the encryption key. If that key is deleted, all the data is scrambled. It's still there, but it's impossible to read. The drive is safe to resell. In its 2022 financial year, Seagate refurbished and resold 1.16 million hard drives and solid-state drives, avoiding more than 540 tons of electronic waste. That includes drives that were returned under their warranty and drives that were bought back from customers. A pilot take-back program in Taiwan recovered 3 tons of e-waste. The challenge now, Ms. Zuckerman says, is to scale up the program. The principle of sanitizing and reusing hardware also applies to other devices, including routers. Companies can be sure data has been deleted from a device by giving it to a security researcher and asking them what they can find. By knowing how to clean the data from devices, companies can send them for reuse or recycling with confidence. The days of take-me-waste linear economy need to be over, says Seagate's Ms. Zuckerman.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that introduction into the interview section of Tech on Tech, a weekly program that brings you technological concepts and debates and breaks them down in an untech way. Now, the issue of access to browsers, issue of access to internet, issue of access to data has actually been part of the debate that's happening in Africa, and how different organizations are supporting these efforts, especially in Africa and in Kenya, to ensure that more users have access to internet, they have access to different browsers, and they have a choice of option in whatever platform that they are using. Now, in today's interview section, we are speaking to Kseniia, Sycheva, I hope I have pronounced it well, but she will do it in the interview. And she is the Senior Global Communications Manager at Opera Mini. Many Kenyans are conversant with Opera Mini, and we now pass it over to Kseniia to continue with this conversation.
So my name is Kseniia, and I've been at Opera for more than 2 years now. I'm Senior Global Communications Manager, responsible for all communications and activities on the continent of Africa. Before that, I have wide tech experience working with leaders like Nokia, Ericsson, Google, Riot Games, and many more. And now, yes, I'm here at Opera, very happy to be able to represent the company on the continent. So if we're talking about the way that Opera appeared in the market, it's been 17 years since we entered Kenyan market. In 2006, just for your understanding, the internet penetration rate in Kenya was 3%. To compare, in the States, the same year, it was 70%. So like the digital divide was absolutely crazy. And when we entered the market, we knew that our main goal will be to bring some products, some technologies, some campaigns that will help to narrow down this digital divide. So what we did is that I think it's very different from what many other browsers companies and competitors do. We didn't just ship on the market the technology we had, because we had successful browsers on the Western markets, but we didn't just come here and just ship whatever we got in the pocket. No, we built the product which will be relevant for the local market based on local needs. What were the needs? Internet penetration rate 3%. People don't have smartphones, they have feature phones, and also not everyone, at all not everyone. Users don't know how to be online, and they don't have money to be online, because if you look at the data cost, even nowadays in Kenya, with Kenya being one of the cheapest in sub-Saharan Africa, 1 gigabyte of data is like $2.5. To compare, in Italy, it's 12 cents. Even nowadays, so imagine the situation back then, when there were not even a data bundle or something like that. So we decided to build a product called Opera Mini, which now has nearly 100 million users across Africa. And the solution behind it was that we need to build a browser which will be simple, working, providing for all the basic needs that people here have, but also saving the data. Because users couldn't afford rich feature fancy browsers because it's too expensive to have those. So basically we build a technology behind Opera Mini which allows to save up to 90% of the data when you're browsing. And that was our entrance to the market. How could we bring it on the market? You know, in Kenya, for example, users don't have smartphones. They definitely don't understand why on earth they need browser on their mobile phone. So what we did, we partnered with Nokia, and we had Opera Mini installed on Nokia phones, and we talked to the students. We gave a lot of phones with data by Safaricom for free across the student community. And then that was it. That was the word of mouth, how it worked. Because people understood that they can use internet now, right here in their own pocket. It's available, it's affordable because there's data-saving technology. So basically that's what helped us to enter the market efficiently. And since then, we've been developing a lot of products and a lot of initiatives, all of them focused on one thing: to make data less expensive and to bring internet penetration to the country. Yes, sure. So basically, Opera has Africa First strategy, which we implemented a couple of years ago. And the main idea of the strategy is that we're investing into the region $100 million. And we're doing it with African consumers in mind. What does it mean? We partner with local talents. We hire local people, we build products that are relevant for locals. We always do everything with locals in mind, and we just don't ship whatever we have in the pocket in other markets. A part of this strategy was Opera Mini. When we realized that the data saving solution is working nice and great, we also realized that Kenyans are becoming very tech savvy. And they are looking not only for data saving anymore, they need a fast, speedy browser that will be helping and satisfying all the needs. So what we did, we built local data centers. Actually, we have one here in Nairobi in Kenya, which helped to speed up browsing 4 times. How did we do it? Because before we had to send data all the way, for example, to Europe and back. So of course the connection was slower. We built data centers here, and now it's 4 times faster. That was a very big chunk of our investment. Then we also decided to, this time when the pandemic started and the entire globe went online, we thought, okay, what about locals? What Kenyans can do, for example? How can they go online? Do you know, like, one Zoom call is like 2 gigabytes of data? Everyone started to do Zoom calls, everyone started to work online, but here, data is crazily expensive, so people cannot afford it. So what we did, we partnered with 11 leading telecom providers. Here in Kenya, we have Safaricom and Airtel, and we offered users up to 3 gigabytes of free data per month, just like that. You don't need to register, you don't need to, sign up, share your email address or anything. You just have Safaricom or Airtel, you have Opera Mini as your browser, done. You're browsing for free. And in the end, over 40 million people participated in this campaign. And in Kenya alone, out of this huge chunk of $100 million investment, more than 10% of that went directly to free data campaigns directly in Kenya. Because that was the data we were paying for. Because we as a company came to the market, partnered with providers, and paid the money for the data that our users will be using. And these deals are still in place, and we still see that users really like them. So it was really important for us to help in this hard situation of pandemic and digitalization of the world. And I think we did a great job. More than that, we are always trying to work with a lot of locals. So, for example, when we do productions here for our videos or marketing campaigns or images, we never just film Kenyans, in the States or in the UK. We always come down here. We come down to South Africa. We come down to Kenya. We come down to Nigeria. We hire local creators. We hire local models, makeup artists, producers, everyone. So we always work locally. And one more thing I think that I'd add is that we always look for interesting startups to support and to invest. One of them, most known one, is Opay in Nigeria, which is the leading payment platform. And we incubated it as a startup. Now we have only minority shares in there, but originally speaking, we help them to grow. And as of now, they have over $3 billion of daily cash flow. So absolutely incredible results. And I think Africa First strategy was all in different aspects. We not only chose one strategy to go through that, we chose different initiatives that we can support and different things that we can help locals with, and that's what we did. We invested across our key markets, South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria, $100 million in just a couple of years. And we are not planning to stop to invest. That was just our one-time big commitment. But we see a lot of potential in the local market, and we see the growth, and we see there's still a lot of room to grow. For example, now digital penetration rate in Kenya is only 42%, but even if you look at this 42%, most of them use less than 10 megabytes of data per month, which is basically 3 links. So there is room to grow, and we see the potential in the market, so of course we'll continue investing.
The interview section of Take on Tech takes a short break. Today we are talking to Kseniia Sycheva, who is the Global Communications Manager at Opera Mini, and she's telling us about their engagement in Africa and in Kenya. Welcome back to the interview section of Take on Tech, in which we are talking about Opera Mini and its engagement in Kenya and how ordinary citizens have been able to engage.
Talking about data protection, there are a couple of things. First of all, our products, including Opera Mini, are free and no login. So if you want to use Opera Mini, you don't need to share with us your email address, your phone number, anything, absolutely anything. You can just go and browse. If you want to set up an account, if you want to use it across different platforms, that's also allowed, absolutely. But we do not require you to log in. Second thing is that we've been always focusing on users' privacy and security. For example, we were the first browser who introduced free built-in VPN across the platforms. ad blockers, tracker blockers, cookie dialog blockers, and stuff like that. And we're constantly working on introducing new solutions to protect our users. But more than that, Opera is a Norwegian company, and we are operating under very, very strict European laws, GDPR policies, data protection rights, rules, and basically we have to comply with those rules every single time, no matter what, no matter which country we are. So we process data here the same way we process it in Norway or France or Germany or States. So I think it's important for our Kenyan users to know that there is no difference for us. Every market we comply with European Union very strict regulations, and we will continue to do so. Yeah, sure. I guess one of the main one that I named is Opera Mini, the browser that was built specifically for African markets. Our key markets here are South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya. So all of these markets face a big issue of very expensive data, and all our solutions are built on the technology. So we wouldn't have Opera Mini working if we didn't come up with 90% data saving technology. We wouldn't have it still be relevant and interesting for our users if we wouldn't come up with how to make it 4 times faster. So whatever we do here, we try to build local solution and local technology behind it, because we believe that we're a tech company. That's what we should do. We should make sure that we provide the best technology available with the best and most relevant for locals feature, and also solve the needs and issues that locals face. Yes, I think we see the future of Kenya brightly. That's why we keep investing, keep growing here. Last year alone, we had 63 million downloads of Opera Mini browser in Kenya. So, of course, we see the market as a very interesting market for a couple of reasons. I guess the main one is that Kenyans are very tech savvy, and we hear a lot of feedback. So, every time we introduce some feature or bring some new product or campaign, we always hear a lot of feedback from Kenyans, and very, very interesting for us feedback, because that's what we want to do. We want to build technologies that are relevant for local people. So if local people don't tell us what's bad or what's good, how can we know? And we appreciate it a lot here that users absolutely fine with giving us very, very cool feedback, and we can make our features better and our solutions better. I think we see the future of Kenya very brightly. That's why we keep investing in this market. That's why we keep bringing our best solutions and products here. There are a couple of reasons for that, but I think the main one is that we see a really great feedback from Kenyans, because they're very tech savvy and they're very interested in testing our products, our new features, and giving us very elaborated feedback, which helps us to build better products in the end. Regarding the challenges that we see here, I think there are 2 main ones. First of them is, of course, very high data costs and very low digital penetration rate. And as I said before, it's not only, we don't really understand how complicated the issue that is, because officially saying there are 42% of users who use internet. But if we talk to our partner like Safaricom or Airtel, they're going to tell us that big chunk of those people use 2 links per month. So that's not actually digital penetration. And we believe that access to the information is a universal right. So that's what we're trying to do here. The second problem is, of course, low penetration of digital devices overall. So a lot of people still use feature phones. There are not a lot of smartphones, and people basically barely can afford something like laptop or desktop computer. So of course, for us to bring people data and bring internet, people should have something to use for this internet. So that's, I would name, the second big issue that is still ahead of us. I guess the fact that we've been here for 17 years proves that we are quite sustainable. And as a company overall, this year, 2022, we showed 32% revenue growth. Our revenue is over $330 million now. So yes, we're a sustainable business. Lately, we've been working a lot with very hot topic right now, AI. And our AI solutions and our AI technology helped us to increase our market share price 4 times in the past couple of months. So yes, I guess we're a very, very sustainable, very successful business. Regarding our future investments, we will be keeping to develop new campaigns, new strategies and new solutions, and we of course will keep investing in the market, in Kenya specifically. We have a lot of interesting initiatives and campaigns going on right now, for example, free data campaign, or we have another initiative called Shake and Win, where you can just actually starting today, where you can just shake your phone and win airtime, cash prizes, phones, different devices and stuff like that. So actually, I think our investment will be only growing, and we are very interested in local market, and we appreciate the loyalty we see in Kenyan users. I think all good, and just wanted to say that Opera is really excited about the future of Kenya, and there is nothing more we want than to make sure that this future comes as soon as possible and in its best shape.
That's it from our interview section of Take on Tech, in which we have been talking to Kseniia Sycheva, who is the Senior Global Communications Manager at Opera Mini, and she's basically told us about the engagement use of data to help or to support people's access to the internet. And that's it. Please continue following us on our social media handles, and that's at KBC Channel 1 across all our platforms. My name is Grace Githaiga. Keep watching.
This is the time for you to be a little bit creative, because we have a DIY just for you in our Innovators Club. So try out this hack and then let us know how it goes. How does that sound? We finally draw the curtains on today's show. It's been a pleasure having you with us. But remember, you can still converse with us, and the question we are asking you: in selecting the internet browser that you use, what exactly do you take into consideration? Talk to us using the hashtag #TakeOnTech at KBC Channel 1. My personal handle is at Stephanie Ayieta. Let's meet next week, same time, same place. Until then, let's keep it tech. Adios.